Elyan.
Yeah.
How do you feel in the run-up to leaving for Orlais again? Let's check in with Elyan.
I mean, I knew I was going to go back, but literally days after I made that decision. Cool. No, because Elyan has been journaling a bit again. It's been heavy on his mind.
Who do you want to take? Obviously you'll have a full party, but I will let you choose the NPC.
And you can't take poor Leander because he's busy.
Bummer.
I mean, you can, he's a non-combat ally now. If you want to take him knowing that he will not be able to fight, that's okay. But you should take, a party, a proper party.
Yeah.
Exactly.
God. All right, who do I want to sneak into the church with? God, I guess remind me of my combat options, because it's been fucking forever.
It's the usual squad. Dorian, Fenris, Maeveris, Ren isn't, well, you'd have to wake him up, but
yeah.
He could theoretically go. Talgan and Zevran.
I like the optics of the dwarf in the chantry. That feels very good and right.
Yeah, Talgan's okay with blasphemy. He doesn't give a fuck about your weird sky maker god. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, right?
It's all fake.
Also, we need to talk to him anyway, so...
I know. Yeah, I mean, I'm torn, I guess, between Talgan and Zevran.
It's really Elyan's call, his in-character call. Who he thinks would be best served.
It's your character arc.
Well, so, I would pick Talgan, but I think Talgan might be mad at me, because, I did leave him in a very emotional...
Oh my god, don't be a baby!
You wouldn't know if he's mad at you. You haven't spoken to him since he got back.
All the more reason to choose Talgan.
Yeah. I'm gonna try.
Okay. So you have the rest of the day to figure out what you're gonna do. You're gonna leave for Orlais in the morning, because it doesn't matter if this person has head start on you. You can, cut the travel time down to, 2 days. And you decide that you want to take Talgan, it sounds like, with you.
Yep.
On your personal quest. So describe what it looks like when Elyan goes to talk to him.
Yeah, so I think Elyan has picked up a very nice bottle or two as kind of an apology gift. Because he recognizes his behavior's been bad, but he wants to make amends before asking a favor.
Okay, so I assume you head to his bedroom door.
Yep.
When you knock, you hear the voice, yeah, come in.
Hi, it's me.
Says, so it is. What's up, Orlesian? He's sitting at a table. There's a tiny little table in front of the hearth. He's still got his bed crammed into one corner. His mother sleeps in the bedroom. Well, he sleeps in, the living room. He kicks the chair out so you can sit down.
Thanks. I brought you this. And I hand him over the bottle.
Says, what's the occasion?
Apologies.
Apologies? Okay, for what?
I did kind of leave you to get back here to May. And everybody else.
He says, you don't have to apologize for that. May's life was in danger. You had to go.
Still, I feel a bit of a shitty friend.
He shakes his head. He says, there's nothing to apologize for, but I will take the liquor. I will take that.
Oh, have at it. But only if I can have some too.
He says, that's yet to be determined.
Come on.
It depends how good it is.
What, the better it is, the less you'll share?
Yes.
Well, then it's a good thing I bought another one, and I take out the other bottle.
That's just cheating.
All right. So, you have an opener or something for this, or are we just gonna, break off the necks like heathens? Come on.
He breaks the neck off like a heathen.
He's like, what do you expect?
He twists the entire, it's a well-cemented, wax cap. And he just, twists it off with his bare hands, because he's fucking Talgan. He's a sex god. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, if I don't have to apologize for that, I do have a bit of a favor to ask.
Says, well, you might have to apologize for that, depending on what it is.
We have to leave for Orlais.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Orlais sucks.
I just kind of look at him, but
It does. It sucks. Come on.
I'm not gonna win that fight, so I'm not even gonna try. I need help breaking into the chantry.
What happened to the delicate little Andrastian noble boy? Any other blasphemy we could do while we're there? You want to, I don't know, like have sex with a Grand Cleric or something?
Considering I'm wanted for murder of one. Is that the trifecta?
He says, hey, as long as you don't have to fucking deal with any of your shitty Orlesian politics, I'm down.
I mean, everything's Orlesian politics.
Well, how about I do the stabbing, you do the politicking?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I could use somebody on my side if things go wrong, and my history with this situation, things just keep going wrong.
He says, well, I suppose it... He pauses and he glances back at his mother's bedroom door, and he hesitates for a second, then he says, well, I guess I can leave her with May. She mostly recognizes May, sometimes.
Is she worse then?
Yeah, she's been getting worse.
Is there anything that we can do at all?
I don't know. You sitting on any more of those fancy magical miracles?
I don't know enough about magic, but I could maybe ask.
He didn't actually expect you to, offer something like that. He says, what, ask your elf spirit friend?
Why not? He came up with a way to end the blight.
Well, yeah, but the blight is magical. This is mundane. And compassion in the back of your head is kind of siding with Talion's, he doesn't even need to see, he's seen her through your eyes before. He knows exactly what's wrong with her. Clearly it's what we would call dementia, really advanced stages of dementia. And there's really not, that's the natural progression of a body when it gets to be really old.
Yeah.
There's not a way to undo age.
Yeah.
He says, I haven't even told her about... He hesitates. He says, I don't know how I would tell her. I mean, she'd love to hear it, of course, but would she even remember it tomorrow?
Well, wouldn't it be better to find out? Maybe it could help. I mean, would it hurt her worse?
He says, I don't know. I mean... No, obviously not. It's good news. The family seat has been reinstated at Orzammar. That's all she ever wanted. But I just don't know how I can sell it to her. I'm not happy about this, not really.
I know.
I haven't even figured out what I want to do. Guess it doesn't matter. He shakes his head and he says, well, whatever. You need me to go to Orlais? Sure, I'll go to Orlais. Maevaris is more than capable of watching her for a few days. And he stands up, he says, tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
He drinks the entire bottle in about 4 seconds.
Oh my
It's
God.
honestly kind of impressive. And then he wipes his lips with the back of his hand and he says, all right, tomorrow morning then. Let's go commit some blasphemy, huh? Your boyfriend coming?
I haven't asked him yet, but I hope that he would.
He says, well, all right. He says, I'll see you in the morning then. So, you all set out bright and early the next morning to Val Royeaux, which for you means, of course, taking the Illuvian through to Kirkwall and then taking a boat across the Waking Sea to Val Royeaux. I would like to get everyone's take on how they're feeling heading to Orlais. You've been to Val Royeaux before, but it was very brief. You weren't really staying in Val Royeaux. You were just passing through. What about you, Sabre? How did you like Orlais? I remember you being really impressed by how pretty it was.
Yeah, I think there's that. I'm still very suspicious of it though. So
Understandably.
it's this is cool, but also where are the assassins?
What about you, Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm still setting up and I'm writing letters we are going to Orlais now. And it's stuff and, like trying to update everything like as fast as you can, like, oh god, this is so hard. Keeping them in the loop all the time.
Yeah, they are very, very needy. Talgan he's not really, excited isn't the right word. He's not unhappy, but it is Orlais, and as he has already explicated, Orlais sucks. He takes as soon as you step off the boat, on Val Royeaux, he looks around and he's like, "Huh, nice." And then that's his assessment. That's all. It's pretty, I guess. Leander steps off the boat with you as well. He's standing beside you. He spent most of yesterday with the Archon going over really boring, dry political stuff. Just the boring shit that he's just going to have to know if he's going to be Archon. And he, as soon as you asked him, "Hey, babe, do you want to come with me to Val Royeaux?" "Yeah, I would like to go absolutely anywhere. Please take me with you." So he steps off the boat with you, Elyan, and he says, "Well, it sure is nice to look at here."
I know. Nobody likes it other than me, but it's home.
He says, I don't hold it against you. I get it. I get the instinct. It's just, I don't know, it's all this polished gold, all the gleaming marble, it just feels like a, how when someone wants to look really flashy, they're usually the people with the least substance?
Ouch.
No offense. You're very handsome. He says, he pats you on the back. You're so handsome. And you've got plenty of substance and I love you very much. But doesn't it kind of feel that way to you?
I mean, I guess I see where you're coming from, but it's just part of us. The grandeur of the game. Everything.
And that makes you happy?
Used to.
He doesn't push it. He knows you're kind of tense here. So he just sort of pats your back. He's like, "Well, I'm here for you. I will." It seems a little weird for the future Archon to be breaking into the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux, but I'll try to blend in. I used to be a rogue. I'm pretty good at it.
Well, nobody knows yet, so, maybe there's that.
There we go. Optimism. So, as you all know, if you leave first thing in the morning out of Kirkwall, you can get to Val Royeaux by sundown. So, now might be a good time to actually try this whole sneaking into the Grand Cathedral at Val Royeaux thing.
Jesus.
And how you, obviously you can't, how sneaky you want to be, I will leave up to, I think, Elyan specifically. If you want to maybe, walk through the front door as though you are trying to pay obeisance to Andraste versus, breaking a window and, climbing in the back or something like that. Complete stealth or, blending into a crowd kind of stealth.
Okay, I'm trying to remember the details of what Liliana told me, because the pendant she gave me...
The pendant she gave you, as you recall, will get you into the secret, this, not so much the Grand Cathedral, as it will get you past someone affiliated with the Dissonance without too many questions.
Okay.
You do know, Liliana has informed you, that the headquarters of the Dissonance were somewhere under the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly where. It is worth mentioning, ever since Liliana became divine, she did open up the chantry to people of all races.
Mm-hmm.
Elves and dwarves and Kunari can be ordained and they can worship openly. So it would not be unusual anymore to see, for instance, a Kunari coming into an Andrastian chantry, because it's not impossible that you are actually Andrastian now. You're allowed to worship.
Okay. See, that's what I didn't remember. So that's actually helpful. So I'm wondering if a little reconnaissance wouldn't be amiss before, but...
What kind of reconnaissance?
I don't know, because our goal is to find the Dissonance and get past them to get answers.
Find the headquarters of the Dissonance, which is somewhere here.
Yeah. I don't know, the bisexual is stuck making a choice. Guys, do you have thoughts?
If it's not so uncommon for a Qunari, I feel like why not just walk through the front door? You've got persuasion, right? Not stealth. That could help you.
Mm-hmm.
You also are still wanted in Val Royeaux. Keep that in
That
mind.
is true. You are still
that's
wanted.
the other issue.
I mean, it's your character arc. Unfortunately, you got to make the call.
God, it feels so fucking blasphemous to break a window.
Do it.
Yeah, I agree.
This is like the one building that he walked past every day.
You don't necessarily have to break a window. You can pick a lock.
Sure.
I mean, it's still breaking and entering.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no destruction of property.
That's a good point. Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah. I feel like he's still particularly nervous because he remembers what the Empress said.
Yeah, that's true. She did know you within a couple hours of meeting you.
Yeah.
So you head around to what you know is the back of the Grand Cathedral, and the chantry never really closes. Like, there's always someone in a chantry because it's like a church. You know, they're supposed to have a pastor around most of the time for crises of faith. And they also occasionally do stuff, you know, like tending wounds of like refugees, that kind of thing. So there's always someone in a chantry, the Grand Cathedral especially. But that said, after a certain point at night, it does become mostly abandoned. So go ahead and roll that lockpicking to see if you can bust into if you can break and enter into the Grand Cathedral. A 15, more than enough for the Grand Cathedral. You deftly slip your lockpicks in, you fiddle around, it clicks, and the door swings open. You let yourselves into the back of the chantry, and as you all head in, Talgon's like, man, you were really serious about that whole blasphemy thing, huh?
Just a little bit.
He says, I'm sure the Andristi would forgive you.
I just kind of pat his shoulder because he tried.
So the interior of the Grand Cathedral, you have been inside the Grand Cathedral, of course, Elyan. You were expected to attend, like, you know, High Holy Day ceremonies, that kind of thing. You remember Bastien, like, he always went because it was expected that he would go, but he was never, like, especially devout. And you have, like as you pass through like the end of the end of the chantry where you can see the rows of pews, you have like these little flashbacks of memory of, you know, everyone singing and like exalting the Maker, and Bastien just kind of standing next to you, like yawning and checking his watch all the time.
Oh, no, because that's like the only bit that I liked was the singing and the music.
It was not really his cup of tea. Like, he did it because it was expected of him, but he was never one to sing the praises of the Maker as much as he should. You spend a couple minutes looking around. Like, you've been in the main bailey of the chantry, of course, but you've never really been to the under... Like, you know that there's a cellar complex because they regularly host, like, feasts for nobles and stuff, and they have to prepare the food somewhere, and you've never fucking seen a kitchen on the main floor of this chantry. So you search around for a while looking for some sort of way down, and you do eventually find it. Most of the chantry is pretty empty, but I would like everyone to please roll stealth. The TN number is going to be 8. Oh, just barely, Amber.
Oh, shocking.
Cassandra,
oh, wow.
I'm so
Nice.
proud of you. So yes, all of you managed to evade suspicion. There is the only real close shave that you get is with a servant, actually 2 servants who are heading down a hallway talking to each other about, they're talking about preparing a dish for a wedding or something. You're not really paying attention. They head past you. They do not notice you. And as you are taking a look around, you see everything that you expect to see, Elyan. You see a big, warm kitchen. You see a long hallway with a bunch of, like, assorted little rooms. Like, there are obviously places that are specifically for study. Like, there's a big library in one area, and then a whole bunch of, like, little private study nooks where you can, you know, take a book and, like, read it in privacy and in quiet for a couple hours as needed. The only place that really stands out to you, Elyan, is past the end of the library. There is a big stone door. And, like, you don't even really notice it at first because it almost looks like it's carved into the wall more than it is like an actual door. But it is a large stone door that is carved into the wall. It is about 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and you stop and you stare at it for just long enough, and you notice that there's a little indentation in the center of this doorway that looks exactly like the sunburst, the pendant that Leliana gave you.
Okay.
It's not guarded, which is kind of what you were expecting. Like, you were expecting to have to flash this to a guard or something, but there's no guards.
That's weird. Well, I guess feeling nervous about this whole thing, he slips the pendant off his neck and presses it to the indentation.
It glows very briefly with golden magic, and then slowly the door swings open. It leads to a set of spiral stairs leading down, which in turn leads you to... It's like you don't know what you were expecting. Like, you heard a secret sect of the Chantry, right? Like a group of priestesses, technically, priestesses and mothers and sisters who work to find the literal truth behind the Chant of Light. You were expecting some sort of, like, Da Vinci Code shit. But what you actually find is, like, a storeroom. And it actually looks like it's been abandoned for quite some time, maybe a couple years. There are a whole bunch of individual cubbyholes with scrolls, but then there are also a couple of, like, statues, like, obviously Andrastian statues that are carefully categorized and sitting behind glass, with long lists of notes, lots of books, lots of, actually all the torches are out now, so it's actually quite dark and you have to, like, strike a flint and light some of the torches. So anyone who wants to, which is at the very least Elyan, but anyone who wants to help can roll perception searching to see if they can find anything of interest in this room.
Good, I actually have a focus in that.
Yeah, I was like, magic, I can at least light. I was like, do you need some light, Elyan?
Yes, please.
Okay, magic fire.
Ho ho ho. So Elyan, Sabray, you rolled a 9. This is all Andrastian shit.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks. You hate it here. You want to go home.
You're looking just so that you look like you're looking for something.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I feel like he's just like, oh, what's this? It's glass.
You want to appear like you are helping.
Yep.
Well, they sure are statues and books.
Yep.
So Elyan, you are searching. You're not really sure what you're looking for. But the more you search, you realize, like, some of these artifacts, like, it doesn't seem possible, but, like, this statue, like, this really big statue of Andraste, like, in the center, like, you see a little pile, like, a little tag onto it, and the tag says, made by Shartan? That can't, like, it has some question marks, so clearly that, but, like an actual statue made by Shartan, like one of the the elven slave who helped Andraste defeat the Devinter Imperium. A, he was an artist, first of all, and B, like, they just have it? Like, they just have it here. This seems like it should be a holy relic, like a statue of Andraste made by Shartan. It's just here. It's just in this basement.
I think he just, like, mutters some kind of oath in Orlesian, just utter disbelief.
Like, of course the Chantry would hide this, right?
Yeah,
like,
naturally.
Naturally, they would just hide a statue made by literally Shartan. They would just hide it away. And it's actually a really beautiful likeness. Like Andraste is so frequently depicted as, like, this serene, perfect, angelic, godlike figure. But here, she's sitting on her knees. She has a bowl of water in her hands instead of a usual globe of fire. And she's depicted so human-like. Like, she has crow's feet around her eyes. She has smile lines. And she looks really, really human in a very interesting way that you've never really seen her depicted before.
I am both fascinated and also, like, confused and feeling a little blasphemous, but everything about this trip is blasphemous.
And you are so caught up in, like, just trying to process, like, look at all these fucking holy-ass artifacts that they just have squirreled away down here, that it's actually you, Cassandra, because you did roll higher,
I did, yeah.
that find the letter that's lying in the middle of the table, which seems important, but you get to read it first.
Excellent.
So I'm going to just straight up DM it to you.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Oh, wow, nice. Ooh. Saucy.
What are these noises?
I mean, it's just, me, Kay, having reaction to chantry shit like I normally do. Fucking chantry. All right, it's fine. But Kaz would just be like, hey, Elyan.
What? He looks over.
I think you might want to read this.
It's literally on the first table, like you passed it on the way to look at this statue, Elyan. It's just sitting out on the open on this table.
I feel like that is an Elyan thing to do, to like look at the statues and art first.
Instead of what's directly by the door. Yeah. Do you want to read it, Cassandra, or do you just want to hand it to Elyan?
Yeah, I'm just going to hand it to him like, I think you should read it, but I don't need to read it aloud.
Go ahead. You can read it to yourself or out loud, but I am going to read it out loud. To your most holy excellence, revered Mother Eloise, stuff a boot in it, you vile old bat. I'm not going to hand my bard over to you just because the chantry demands it. I've lived long enough to know that the chantry is never without its selfish motivations. You said you wanted to march on the Dales for a holy ordinance too, and how did that end for the elves? I am going to protect him from you and your kind if it kills me. If you persist in trying to pry him from my service, rest assured that I will personally ensure that you'll never find him again. He's too good to be tainted by your honeyed poison. Don't contact me again. B. de G.
Oh, I recognize that hand.
Yep.
I think he kind of stumbles against the table.
So what is Elyan thinking? When he reads this.
What the hell? What is all of this about?
You're so caught up in reading it that you don't even notice there's a scribbled note underneath it. It's not in the same hand. You think it was probably written by the person who received the letter. Our spies confirm that he is dying and has some sort of plan in the works involving you, revered mother. Perhaps Divine Victoria is right. Let sleeping dogs lie? I'm interested to know how much of this you have figured out, Val. Not so much Elyan, but what you have been able to glean from this letter.
Not much. I am dimmer than a light bulb that's blowing out.
Light bulbs don't blow out, but okay. So...
Honestly, it's a really clever way of illustrating her points.
So I think this... In that case, let's have you roll communication investigation.
Okay.
So, Elyan, obviously, I assume you have figured out who this letter is from.
Oh, absolutely. That's why Elyan, stumbled into the table and is in shock.
The nature of the letter seems to be, you remember Vivienne telling you when you first talked to her in Val Royeaux that Bastien and the revered mother did not get along for the last couple years of Bastien's life. They were scrapping, fighting like cats and dogs, and you don't know what it was about. This letter implies the reason they were at each other's throats was because of you. The letter implies that something about you made the chantry come to Bastien and say, hey, we need your bard for something, and Bastien had stubbornly been like, no, fuck you. He's not for sale, I'm not going to just hand him over to you.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that bit, but
It further implies, Elyan, the note, especially at the bottom, our spies confirm that he's dying and he has some sort of plan in the works involving you.
Mm.
Bastien has some sort of plan in the works revolving you.
Mm-hmm.
It implies that Bastien is the one who framed you.
What the hell? Why would he do that?
Leander comes and he, looks over your shoulder and he reads it and he says, well, I guess to get you out of Orlais, right? That's what it sounds like. He wanted you out of Orlais and away from the chantry.
But why? I'm nobody.
So Cassandra, with that 17, when you picked up the letter and handed it to Elyan, the obvious letter just sitting on the table right in the middle of the room, after you had picked up that letter and handed it to him, you realized that underneath that letter was a really thick stack of parchments that seemed to be family trees.
Oh, fun.
The reason you know that is because the name Elyan Bayard is circled on the top of those papers.
More stuff for you to look at, Elyan. And I tap the stack there you are.
I guess I look at them. He's not doing great right now, but that's fine. Maybe it'll give it a clue.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? So, Elyan, it's not surprising to you that a chantry has your family tree. Traditionally, the chantries are, among other things, like the major record-keeping genealogical organization. Like, they will take record of births, deaths, marriages. Because obviously most Andrastian families will do all of those things through the chantry. So they'll always have a record of who dies, when they die, who gets married, when they get married, that kind of thing. So that does not surprise you at all that they have your family tree. It is a little bit surprising that it's categorized so neatly. As you're going through the stack of papers, you keep unfolding the papers, and there's 7 generations ago, 8 generations ago, 9, 10, 11 generations ago. Way, way, way more. And you can tell that it's been pieced together from other chantries throughout your family's history. And you keep going back to some of these names are Avar names. It's not super surprising that you've got some descendants that are Avar, because most people that are from the borders of Ferelden and Orlais have some Avar blood in them somewhere. And as you keep going up, you're trying to figure out, why do they have so much of my family tree? Why do they care so much? You get to the very last paper, and at the top is the name Andraste.
Oh, God.
Do you, pass out on the spot? I was
I'm trying to decide if he drops the papers or faints or both. What?
Leander's you okay, babe?
Sabray, I think Elyan's broken.
Oh no.
Hit him in the back of the head with something.
This is impossible.
What's impossible? Are you, Elyan, you're starting to scare me a little. What's going on?
This is my family? No.
Who's your family? I'm looking at the papers and oh, I can't read this.
You're oh, I forgot I can't read.
This says I'm descended from Andraste herself. I think Elya just kind of looks bewildered up at Leander, this is what?
Leander is kind of quiet. He's watching your face, but he's clearly thinking about, stuff himself. And after a lapse of silence, he says, sorry, I'm trying to think, there's a joke about, getting holy dicked down. And I'm really struggling with it. Holy seed? I have accepted the holy seed? No, that doesn't make any sense.
I think Elyan just kind of sits heavily on whatever's closest.
Does that mean you're a god?
I think we probably would have noticed if he was a god, Leander says.
Yeah. Wow, lots of family surprises in this group, huh?
He says, do your parents know?
I would assume they don't, but I don't know.
Well, we're in Orlais. I guess we could ask him, right? If you wanted to. Filled with holy light. Got it. I was filled with... Get it? Because we're having sex.
Oh boy, yeah. We all know that, Leander. Thank you.
I'm laughing my ass off. I'm cackling. I'm oh, it's so good.
And Leander's right? High five.
I give him a big high five.
No, Elyan's still too numb.
Cass is just sitting there all right, Elyan, how you holding up?
My entire faith is just challenged. Well, how do you think?
So go ahead and roll historical lore, Elyan. So, early Andrastian lore is obviously shrouded a lot by history, by myth, by legend, by rumor even. But you do know that the version of the story that you always heard was that Andraste was barren. That she married Mafarath, the Avar leader Mafarath, who would eventually sell her out to the Defenders and would betray her, and he's the reason she burned alive. She adopted his 3 sons from another wife. She tried to give him 3 children, but history says that that all of them died. All of her natural-born children died. But, according to this family tree, one of them, the youngest daughter, survived. And had children of her own. So, like it was 1,000 years ago, right? Like, you don't know, you weren't there, but you do know that, like, even in the Chant of Light, it's mentioned that Andraste did have 3 miscarriages. So maybe, like, one of them did survive.
Okay. I need some air.
Divinely inspired. Wait, where are you going? So you head back out the way you came? Or do you head, interestingly, into the chantry to maybe bow your head in prayer? I don't know. It's your character. You tell me.
Yeah, so I'm torn, because, like, prayer would be a thing he would do, but also, like, he's about to have a fucking panic attack. He needs air. He needs, like, air.
Well, I mean, the chantry, the Grand Cathedral is huge.
Yeah.
It's very, very spacious, and it's mostly abandoned.
Yeah.
So, like, don't discount it just because you think he would want to be somewhere with lots of air. Like, the Grand Cathedral's bigger than your house. Like,
yeah,
it's huge.
No, that's valid.
But, again, it's up to you. He's your character.
I mean, it would make sense for him to retreat there, too, because it is familiar to him. It is comforting.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think flavor-wise, he just retreats back up and just kind of clings to a pillar for a minute.
Leander is a couple breaths behind you. He is clearly not quite sure how to handle this. He approaches from behind. He puts his hand on his back. He says, "You okay?"
Either my parents knew and lied about this, or they don't know, but how is this possible?
He says, "Well, I assume in the usual way of things. Kids have kids have kids." He urges you to sit down in the front row of the pews.
Yeah, I sink heavily down onto one. I think I'm probably still clutching that paper, just like I say, he was in shock. What would they have wanted to do with me?
I don't know. Sorry. He says, "I invite you to consider that this doesn't have to change anything if you don't want it to. Like, obviously word hasn't gotten out, and you have right now in your hands the only proof, right?"
But, I mean, there's a difference between having faith and knowing that she was real and this.
He says, "Yeah. I mean, it hasn't had much of an impact on your life so far, apart from, the part where Bastien apparently framed you for murder to get you away from the chantry, but, apart from that, it hasn't seemed to have had much effect on you, right? My point is that this only has to change everything if you want it to change everything."
Thought I'd find answers, but I found more questions.
He says, "Yeah. I mean, if answers are what you want, I guess we could always start with your parents, but I don't know, maybe they don't know anything."
I haven't seen them in so long. I hadn't even written since I came to the city.
You've been wanted, Elyan. It wouldn't be safe.
I know.
He says, if your only concern is the wanted, I mean, you're friends with Divine Victoria. She could have it ripped up if you wanted to visit them safely.
I need to know if they know anything. I don't know what I'll do with it, the knowledge, but I need to know.
Hey friends, Tessa here. If you're desperate to hear the next episode, chances are good that you can by joining our Discord server. We post links to all episodes in pre-release, and you can even chat with us and listen live as we record. Join us by going to bit.ly/CFCDiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Crit Fail Club does not advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also like it, make a post on social media about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/CFC channel, or wherever you get your podcasts.